Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cyber Planet. My name is Karim Chata, and I am your host. Today, we have a very special guest all the way from Kenya, who is a cybersecurity expert in the consultation industry, and his name is John Kiguru. Mr. John, karibu sana.
Thank you so much for having me, Karim.
So, can you please tell us about yourself and how do you get started into cybersecurity?
So I'm John Kiguru, and I'm a cybersecurity consultant, as Karim has pointed out. And normally, the way I started was actually really, it wasn't as planned as most people can say. And I just got in as, like, I didn't know what to do. So we're just there choosing courses, and I happened to pursue IT in a university called Jomo Kenyatta University in Kenya. So when I was pursuing the IT, I happened to find a vast community, people doing the emerging technologies like AI and all that. But particularly, I was so interested in cybersecurity. So just by following the clubs there and the community there at large, I was able to
Yeah.
venture into that field.
Now, when you talk about cybersecurity consultation, what are some of the primary responsibilities and objectives of your role?
Okay, so in my role as a cybersecurity consultant, my primary responsibility usually revolve around assessing, identifying, and mitigating security risks for clients across various industries. So I normally work closely with like stakeholders to develop and implement tailored security strategies, conduct security assessment and audits, and provide guidance or rather on regulatory compliance, that is GRC. So I don't do a lot of GRC, but normally my findings in audits help in the person in our team doing the GRC part.
And so does that mean when you go and do audits and meet stakeholders, does it involve more of interacting with um, the decision makers, or do you just basically interact with the technical team? So basically the IT department.
Uh, it is a mixture of both. So normally a typical day will involve like a mix of client meetings. So you'll even find me like writing proposals and all that, and doing the security assessments. That is now the technical part, and report writing basically to be able to convey what you got in business terms to now the stakeholders and the clients. The clients as the stakeholders rather.
How would you advise an individual who is coming into consultation rather? What are some of the key skills and qualifications that are needed for this role?
Um, okay, so one of it is you really need to be that person who is persuasive and determined to learn every day. And in persuasion is that you need to persuade yourself, especially in report writing. I know a lot of guys out here who are really technical and they don't really love writing reports. At the bare minimum, they write you a report and you won't even understand it as a client. So you need to know how to convey your findings in a language that will be understandable to a person who is not as technically experienced as you. So among the key skills that you should have for anyone joining, I would point out three of them. So one of it is that you really need to know you really need to know what you're doing. So that is the first one. You need to know what you're doing. By that, I mean you need to be really technical when doing the security assessments. Remember here you're dealing with a lot more than what you see. When you're doing the assessment, you might think you're just doing it for the client, but here people's data is at stake. And that is something you need to keep in mind. The second one is report writing. You need to have the skills of report writing. Again, as I said, this is really important. You can find the best of bugs, but if you don't know how to report them, then I don't know how you'll be useful in the field.
Yeah.
The third one would be you need to always be on the go ahead. Like you need to be updated. So you need to be researching every day and you need to keep in touch in the community. Yeah.
Okay. And what are some of the challenges that you've managed to face in this role?
So again, being so technical, you don't like writing reports. So that is one of the challenges. Also, I came from a very technical background, and
Yeah.
having to go to client meetings was very, it wasn't something I would wait for. I didn't like it at all. But with time, I have learned how to cope with it.
Now, being as a cybersecurity consultant, I know, yes, you need the technical skills, which are very important. What are
And
your tips
also,
when
Also, if
so
I point out, I just forgot, imposter syndrome. Oh my God, you'll go to environments and you'll feel like you don't know anything. So that is also a challenge. Yeah, no, go ahead.
yeah. So being a cybersecurity consultant, yes, you mentioned that you need the technical skills. How important is it when it comes to having the soft skills as a cybersecurity consultant?
So that is actually the meat and potatoes of the whole cybersecurity consultant role. It will actually make you emerge or rather be seen among other techies because you'll be able to be very you'll be able to talk in business terms. You'll be able to reflect your findings and what value they give to the business. So
Mhm.
it will really act as a good arsenal. It's a good tool in your arsenal.
Okay, so you've mentioned a lot of things, but I am trying to understand from your perspective, how do you usually stay up to date with what's going on in the industry? Because there are a lot of things that are coming in. Right now, we have things relating to AI, we have things relating to data protection, etc. Now, how do you keep up to date with everything that's revolving around the industry itself?
I'm really glad you mentioned that. It's a really crucial and an important aspect. So actually staying up to date in the industry is really crucial. So normally I regularly attend conferences. Like I know Karim usually have the Hackett conference. And
Yeah.
normally, I do check it online. I'm not able to travel to Tanzania, but in the future, I might come. I also
Oh,
do see like, or rather watch webinars, training sessions like the Isaka one, which I'm actually attending right now, or rather
yeah.
at this moment. Also participating in industry forums and communities, it's really helpful. For example, the HTBKE, that's a really good community. And engaging in continuous learning, this is where I mentioned about the whole research and all that. So you stay informed about the latest security threats, technology, and best practices. Remember, to become a cybersecurity consultant, you need to like have solid foundation in IT and cybersecurity. You also need to like gain education through maybe training, hands-on experience, like maybe doing boxes on Hack the Box, and also maybe relentlessly pursuing certifications like OSCP, CRTO. I know most of people have biased um, opinions about them, but I really think they're also helpful. For example, for people in Africa, because we really don't have like a structured way of learning cybersecurity, it would be really nice for you to follow a certification because it gives you a breakdown and a path to follow. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned something very crucial, which is best practices. Do you have some few best practices as a cybersecurity consultant that you need to follow?
I actually do have a few in my arsenal, and one is having like a password manager. I don't have to use the same password for each and every website I visit.
Yeah,
So normally I don't want to say my password manager because it will look like I'm promoting them, but I do
yeah.
have one. And they're also actually really tricky because sometimes they get compromised and all your data gets posted or dumped somewhere in the internet. So you need to also be a little more, um, you just need to be on the lookout for them.
Okay. And when it comes to certifications, I think
Okay.
you mentioned that on your previous points. What are some of the best certifications that an individual can go for, especially if they want to, focus specifically on cybersecurity consultation?
Okay, so on certification, I'll be a little biased because I'll say the certification that I would want to get, or rather the ones that I have. But I do still think that some of the other certifications that I don't know about and they are cybersecurity related are still really relevant. So, for example, when I was starting out, I did the Red Hat System Administration. So this
Okay.
course actually widened my knowledge in terms of how to be a system administrator in a Linux or rather Unix machine. So normally they teach with their red what do they call it? The operating system, which
Yeah.
is a Debian one, just
Mm.
customized to match their brand.
Yeah.
The next one will be maybe to get some offensive security skills. For example, doing the API sec courses for API security. You maybe
Yeah.
do a web one from Portswigger. So these are the guys who built BAP Suite. So
Yeah.
I think that one is also really relevant. And the famous OffSec courses, which most of us believe are the meat and potatoes of a cybersecurity consultant. But
Yeah.
there's usually a downside for them because they are really costly. And that should not act as a barrier or something that should discourage any person who is venturing into the field. We usually grow slowly, slowly. So normally
Yeah.
for me, I would encourage anyone who is out there to venture into CTFs. So these are challenges which will help you hone your skills as in terms of technical skills. And with them, actually, you might find yourself getting good opportunities that might help you now get the certifications that you want. So again, for OffSec courses, you might want to do maybe OSCP as your first one, or rather, you don't need to like jump to OSCP. You might do now the fundamental courses. I saw OffSec launched some fundamental tracks such as the cloud security, there was the PEN 100 and all that. So I was lucky enough when I was starting. I did win a certain CTF and I was given a voucher to do the fundamentals one. So it comes with a bundle of OSWP, that is the wireless course, and KLCP, which is the Linux professional thing. They're not really hard. I just think they are really overpriced for any layperson in Africa, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the most common questions that is usually asked by newbies is, how do I land a role in cybersecurity? That's usually the most common question. Now, you mentioned CTF. Does it
Mhm.
really help in landing a role in cybersecurity?
Um, I actually think they do play a vital part in it. Normally in CTFs, that's the way you usually show your skills to recruiters. And the more you keep winning CTF, so you don't even have to win. The more you keep showing up in CTF events, the more you get to know people and widen your circle, and the more you
Mm.
hear opportunities. Yeah. And also, I think I left out some certifications that I really think they're really important from zero point security. So they mainly focus on attacking Windows operating system, which is the widely used operating system in corporate environments. So I really think they're also worth a shot.
Yeah.
Reflecting back to your question, CTFs are really helpful. For example, I see people after like playing a CTF, they do write a blog and explain how they solve challenges. Those blogs are actually what recruiters look for. They are gonna read the blog and see the skills you have, and they're gonna call you for an interview. And that's how I actually landed my first role.
And it's a very nice perspective to put it, because everybody has a different perspective when it comes to CTFs. But I think what you just mentioned right now is very, very crucial, and it's very true. Now,
Yeah.
coming to the next
Pardon
question.
if I just cut you short. That is
Yeah,
really true, as you said. People have really opinionated opinions. I
yeah,
don't know how to call them, but they would say that CTFs will train you to have like a CTF-like mind. But I do think if someone is really starting out, CTFs would actually be the best way.
Yeah,
But also, you don't need to really cling into the CTF-like environment. You need to learn that a real world environment is a little bit different, and you don't need to go with a CTF mind, like I must find a vulnerability, rather like a flag. No, you need to go easy on them, especially um when you're doing like scans. You don't go doing those brutal scans, which will uh um, like ring bells for the guys doing the SOC stuff. Yeah, so
yeah,
but I still think when you're doing CTFs, it's really nice. They'll keep you sharp and
yeah,
up to date.
yeah. Okay, from my perspective, I think CTFs are just there to help you build your attack methodologies. I think that's the most crucial bit when it comes to CTFs.
Exactly.
Um, People shouldn't get to CTF just because they want to get the flags, but they should get to CTF in order to improve their methodologies or
Yeah,
learn new methodologies. I think that's where the cut is when it comes to the perspective of CTFs. Now,
for sure.
coming back to you, what are some of the biggest cyber threats facing organizations today based on your experience as a cybersecurity consultant?
Cybersecurity is a dynamic and ever-evolving field, considering that technology keeps evolving and new technologies keep coming up. For example, the LLMs, the language models, and AI, and all those emerging technologies. The more the technology gets to evolve, the more cybersecurity gets complex as you have to evolve with it. Um, so there are a lot of challenges that come with that. Um,
Yeah,
because you need to keep learning. You need to keep learning each and every technology that comes up. You need to learn it and be able to know how you can better protect the people using it. Yeah.
yeah. Now, I know you're a very busy person and you have a lot on your plate. So can you just please give us your final thoughts um, that you may have currently for our listeners?
Just to end, in my opinion, the biggest cybersecurity threats facing organizations today include ransomware. There is also data breaches, insider threats, and increasingly sophisticated phishing attacks. So, as attackers continue to evolve their tactics, organizations must, of course, remain vigilant and adopt proactive security measures to protect their assets. Um, to the people wanting to venture into cybersecurity, I I urge you to check into CTFs with the mindset of learning, not winning. And
Yeah,
I also hope that because most people who are joining, they like watching videos. I would also urge you to read a lot of books because I think most of the knowledgeable stuff is usually buried in books. Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you very much, John. Now, before we go, I think I'm just going to try to give a little bit of a recap of basically everything that we talked about today. And generally, what cybersecurity consultancy is, number one, it's all about assessing and mitigating cyber risks, generally for clients, interacting with different stakeholders in general. So that is the technical people and non-technical people. And also it involves writing proposals and writing reports. So for the proposal bit is trying to get different projects, getting your foothold in. And for the report is definitely to show what loopholes that you've managed to find in the organization systems and providing recommendations on how they can improve their security postures in general. Um, and then we talked about certifications. So our guest speaker here just mentioned that some of the certifications that you guys could venture in order to get into this role is Red Hat System Administration, API Security, certifications from Botswiga, OCP, And then he mentioned one which is very important is 0-point security. That's for guys who are trying to learn about Windows penetration testing. How you can stay up to date with the cybersecurity trends is number one, attending cybersecurity conferences. Number two, cybersecurity webinars, getting involved with forums and community, and finally doing different type of researches in order to improve on your skills. And then we touched base a little bit on CTFs, and we talked about the importance of it and how they can help you to land a role in cybersecurity. So generally, that's a recap of everything that we talked about today. Mr. John, karibu sana, and thank you very much for being in this session with us. It's an honor to have you as our guest, and I hope in the next episodes in the future, you're going to come here and share more knowledge when it comes to cybersecurity consultation and other activities that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sana Karim, for having me.
Thank you very much and have a lovely time. Guys, see you on the next episode. Cheers.
Cheers.